Alright, Shade Tree here. So tonight, it's about 11 o'clock already, so that means it's time to work on the bug. What we're going to do tonight is we're going to install caster shims in the front end. And so there may be people out there that don't know what those are and why you need those. So, I'm going to use my handy dandy flashlight to try and explain what caster shims do. Normally, let's say this is the spindle center line from top trailing arm to bottom trailing arm. Your spindle will have a little bit of a kickback, like this. Not that exaggerated, but there's a couple of degrees there. About 5, I think, is what stock is supposed to be. And anyways, this keeps you going straight down the road at higher rates of speed. And when you lower your bug, you're moving the trailing arms from being in a position like this to a position like that. Alright? So, if you think about that, what happens is your spindles at a center lines are like this, normal stock, just sitting there on the road. And when you move it through a cycle, they actually will end up being pretty much straight, or sometimes, depending how low you go, it will actually be an angle like this. Same thing if you raise the vehicle. It's like this, and you move the trailing arms are like this, and you move them down farther to lift the car. Well, now the spindle, instead of having an angle like this, will have an angle like that. Alright? So the way you rectify that is with caster shims. And what these are, it's just, wow, dropped it. And again. What these are just aluminum shims. And you can see there's 2 of them per pack. They're just little wedge shapes. And they go behind the beam. For a lowered car, you're going to put these on the lower torsion tube. If you had a severely raised car and you're having problems that way, to counteract it, you put them on the top tube. And that will kick the bottom of the beam outward, like so. Or kick the top of the beam forward, and that will readjust your spindles. So, your spindles, now the center lines are straight. If you kick the bottom of the beam outward, it will add it back to like stock. If your spindle is already laying back from being too raised so much that when you add it to the top of the beam, it will move it forward and move it straighter up and down. That's the idea, and these are pretty cheap. I got these at Bug Jam. These were $11 a pop. I kind of found it funny that a lot of people buy these, and I could not find any used in the swap meet. I was really hoping to find some used in the swap meet, but I think because you put them in the car and they stay there forever. So, so I bought 2 sets, and I bought a set of longer bolts. And the reason being is, if you look at this, if you end up using 2 sets, that's quite a bit there. That's probably like almost 3/4 of an inch, maybe, definitely over half, that this will be sticking out there. And if you think about it, you don't have a 1/2 inch of bolt thread sticking out of your beam, from the back side there. So let's say it had a 1/4 inch. You can usually put 1 set of shims in with no problem, and it will work fine with the stock bolts, but I'm going longer because I'm going to do 2. So the first order of business here, this is a really simple process. Jack the car up and put some jack stands under it. Not even want to show that because I'm pretty sure you guys are, know how to do that by now. Alright, so got a 19mm wrench. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take 1 bolt at a time out on the lower ones, because that's the ones I'm replacing, and install my newer ones. I've already taken the liberty to loosen that one, and now if I can break the seal on my nice brand new bolt package here and get this out, and you can see, hopefully, look how much longer that is. If I put them side by side there, You can see that one's quite a bit longer than the stock bolt. A stock bolt should be fine if you're just doing one shim. So now I'll put this back in, but I won't tighten it all the way tight because I need some space to be able to install my new shims. So get this tightened. And then I'll do the same thing for the other bolt. And when I do go to do this, I'm going to probably also loosen the top bolt so I can pry the beam out. It will need a little wiggle room at the top. And if you're going to have to do a lot of shims, you might have to readjust the steering box just a little bit because you're going to be changing the angle slightly on it for the steering shaft. But I think I'll get lucky and the rag joint will take up all my play there. So, alright, we'll come back with the next step. So, I don't have a big pry bar. I got a screwdriver. I'm going to try my best to pry the beam away so I can slide in the shims. And there's already one back here. I already have one shim in this setup, but I need to go a little more. So I'm going to try that now. I may edit this out because this may not work as well as I want. There's the one shim I already have. What I'm going to do is I'm going to double up on my new ones. Keep those old ones out. That way everything should be about the same. Amazingly, it comes with instructions. How about that? So basically, take the bolts loose. If you're going to put the really long ones in, like the long bolts in, do it before you take both of them all the way out. And then when you're getting your shims in there, they want to slide them all the way towards the outside of the frame. This side I wasn't all the way able to do that. It was a little tight, so it's like an eighth of an inch off. Not that big a deal. The other side I got flush with the outside of the frame. Now we torque it down to 36 foot-pounds per what the instructions say the original torque spec was. I'll take their word for it. I remember it was somewhere in that range when I looked it up the last time. So we'll get our nice handy dandy torque wrench out here, which has not been calibrated since it was brand new. I would rather have a deflecting beam one than the clicker, but it's what I got. Alright, that one's there. That one's there. There it is. Check this one up here, and then we'll be good. There we go. Okay. So it's all torqued, all 4 bolts. And that's how you install caster shims. And like I say, hopefully it makes a little sense if somebody hasn't seen that before, what they do. That's what they are. That's about $22, well no, actually $5, so $27 to do that myself here, you know. Not something you go and pay a shop to do unless you don't even have any tools, you know. If you don't really need the torque wrench. In all reality, you could just muscle it down, but these frame heads are not very thick in all reality when you look at the metal. And the captured nuts on the back side, if it's really rusty, have a tendency to break off. So this one had already been taken off before. I'd suggest you spray a lot of penetrating oil on the back side, and you'll see, ooh, that was nice and loud, on the back side of the beam, where these bolts come through, you'll see the captured nut that's welded to the frame head. So, that's what we're doing there. So, hopefully everybody had a good little lesson. And a lot of you guys probably have already seen this and knew what to do. This is for those guys that don't and are just getting into it. So, remember, there's more videos out there. Take a look at them. Subscribe if you can. Leave comments. Trying to help everybody else out and see what they kind of like and don't like. So, you know, that always helps other people. Maybe there's videos out there, somebody wants something different, you know. And if you can leave a comment like that, I'd appreciate it. You know, kind of coming up with ideas. I'm just going around doing this as I do it. I do have one thing to show you. I narrowed the beam 4 inches. And that will require you to clearance the back side of your headlight buckets. You know, I don't know if this will show it too well, but yeah, I had to smash it in with a hammer just a little bit there, you know, to make it clear. I could have probably done a nicer job with the fender off and stuff like that and actually cutting the metal out and weld it back in, but I didn't have the time, and it was a good way to take out frustration. So, just thought I'd show that one to everybody, because I haven't realized that. But there we go. Car's back almost together. I have to fix the generator. It's not charging right now, and I know it charged before. I think it's because the regulator's not grounded very well. So I'm going to have to play with that. I may just switch it out. I got a brand new regulator. So I'll try and get this video up as soon as I can. And you all have a good night. Get out there and work on your cars. Have some fun. Alright, bye.